World War I, a monumental conflict that reshaped the global landscape, began in 1914 and continued to escalate in 1915, marking a pivotal year in its history. The war saw major powers divided into two primary alliances: the Allies, including nations like France, the United Kingdom, Russia, and later the United States, and the Central Powers, led by Germany, Austria-Hungary, and the Ottoman Empire. In 1915, significant events unfolded, such as the Gallipoli Campaign and the introduction of poison gas on the battlefield, which highlighted the war's brutal nature and technological advancements. This year not only intensified the fighting but also deepened the global impact, affecting economies, societies, and politics worldwide. As we delve into the early developments of this conflict, we uncover the complexities and consequences that shaped the course of history. In the early months of World War I, the staggering loss of life became evident as millions of soldiers fell in battle. By the end of 1914, estimates suggested that over 1 million troops had already died, with the conflict rapidly expanding beyond the Balkans. The Central Powers, primarily Germany, Austria-Hungary, and the Ottoman Empire, faced off against the Allies, which included France, the United Kingdom, and Russia. The war's geographical reach extended into various regions, significantly impacting areas like Poland and the Baltic states. These territories became battlegrounds as armies clashed, leading to widespread devastation and suffering. The brutal realities of trench warfare and the relentless nature of combat marked this period, setting a grim tone for the years to come. The early months of the war foreshadowed the unprecedented scale of human loss that would follow. The key battles and military strategies of World War I revealed stark contrasts between the Eastern and Western fronts. On the Eastern Front, the Russian army faced significant defeats, particularly against German forces, leading to a retreat that weakened their position. Meanwhile, Austro-Hungarian troops struggled to maintain control against relentless attacks, further complicating their military efforts. In stark contrast, the Western Front became synonymous with trench warfare, where soldiers endured horrific conditions in a stalemate that resulted in massive casualties and little territorial gain. This brutal form of combat had profound implications, as it entrenched both sides in a cycle of attrition. Additionally, Germany initiated a strategic bombing campaign aimed at crippling enemy supply lines and morale, showcasing the war's evolving tactics. These battles and strategies underscored the complexity and devastation of the conflict on both fronts. Naval engagements and blockades played a crucial role in shaping the dynamics of World War I. The Battle of Dogger Bank, fought in January 1915, marked a significant naval confrontation between British and German fleets, resulting in a decisive victory for Britain. This battle not only showcased British naval superiority, but also bolstered morale and reinforced the importance of controlling sea routes. Concurrently, Britain implemented a stringent naval blockade against Germany, severely restricting the flow of essential supplies, including food and raw materials. This blockade had a profound impact on the German economy and civilian population, leading to widespread shortages and suffering. In response, Germany adopted retaliatory measures, including unrestricted submarine warfare targeting Allied merchant ships, which aimed to disrupt supply lines and challenge British dominance at sea. These naval strategies significantly influenced the war's overall trajectory and outcomes. The introduction of chemical weapons during World War I marked a grim evolution in military tactics. The Second Battle of Ypres in April 1915 was a pivotal moment, as German forces unleashed poison gas for the first time on the Western Front, causing panic and devastating casualties among Allied troops. In response to this new threat, the development of gas masks became essential for soldiers, leading to an arms race in chemical warfare as nations sought to protect their forces and enhance their offensive capabilities. This innovation reflected the broader trend of adapting to increasingly lethal technologies. Additionally, the significance of the Fokker-Eindecker in aerial combat cannot be overlooked. It was the first aircraft to feature a synchronized machine gun, allowing pilots to engage effectively in dogfights. Together, these advancements transformed the nature of warfare, introducing new challenges and strategies on the battlefield. The tragic events surrounding the Armenian population during World War I are marked by systematic deportation and murder orchestrated by the Ottoman Empire. Beginning in 1915, hundreds of thousands of Armenians were forcibly removed from their homes, subjected to brutal treatment, and many were killed in what is now recognized as one of the first modern genocides. The international response to these atrocities was mixed. While some nations condemned the actions, the term genocide was not widely used until later, complicating the global acknowledgement of the events. The lasting impact of these events on historical memory is profound, as they continue to shape Armenian identity and diaspora narratives. The denial of the genocide by successive Turkish governments has further fueled tensions and discussions about accountability, making it a critical topic in both historical scholarship and contemporary politics. The sinking of the Lusitania on May 7, 1915, marked a pivotal moment in the lead-up to U.S. involvement in World War I. The British passenger liner was torpedoed by a German U-boat off the coast of Ireland, resulting in the tragic loss of nearly 1,000 lives, including 128 Americans. This incident sparked widespread outrage among the American public, who viewed the attack as an affront to civilian safety and international norms. The loss of American lives intensified calls for action against Germany and shifted public sentiment towards supporting the Allies. Consequently, the U.S. government faced mounting pressure to respond, straining diplomatic relations with Germany. The Lusitania incident ultimately contributed to the growing sentiment for intervention, setting the stage for the United States to enter the war in 1917, fundamentally altering the conflict's dynamics. The Allied campaign at Gallipoli, launched in April 1915, aimed to secure a sea route to Russia and knock the Ottoman Empire out of the war. Initial landings at key locations, such as Anzac Cove, faced fierce Turkish resistance, led by Mustafa Kemal, who effectively utilized the terrain to repel the invading forces. The Allies encountered logistical challenges, harsh conditions, and a lack of adequate planning, which contributed to their struggles on the front lines. As the campaign dragged on with heavy casualties and little progress, the decision to evacuate was made in late 1915. The execution of this withdrawal was remarkably organized, allowing most troops to escape with minimal losses. Ultimately, the Gallipoli campaign had a significant impact on the war effort, leading to a re-evaluation of Allied strategies and contributing to the rise of national consciousness in Turkey. The developments on the Eastern Front during World War I were marked by significant German advances, notably the recapture of Przemyśl in March 1915, which had been a stronghold for the Austro-Hungarian forces. This victory exemplified the effectiveness of German military strategy and coordination, leading to a series of successful offensives that pushed Russian troops further back. Tsar Nicholas II's decision to take personal command of the Russian army had profound implications, as it placed him directly responsible for military failures and heightened public scrutiny of his leadership. The Russian army faced staggering losses throughout this period, with estimates of over 2 million casualties by the end of 1916, including dead, wounded, and captured soldiers. This retreat not only weakened Russia's military position, but also contributed to growing discontent at home, ultimately leading to political upheaval and revolution. In summary, World War I was marked by key events that shaped its trajectory, including significant battles such as the Battle of the Somme and the Gallipoli Campaign, alongside evolving military strategies and devastating humanitarian crises like the Armenian Genocide. These events highlighted the brutal realities of trench warfare, and the profound impact on civilian populations. As nations prepared for future offensives in 1916, the war's complexities continued to unfold, setting the stage for further conflict and change. Understanding these pivotal moments is crucial for grasping the broader implications of the war. By 1916, World War I had transformed into a brutal example of industrialized warfare, fundamentally altering the nature of combat and leading to staggering casualties. The introduction of advanced weaponry, such as machine guns, artillery, and tanks, created a deadly environment on the battlefield, where traditional tactics proved ineffective against modern firepower. This evolution in warfare resulted in unprecedented death tolls, with battles like the Somme claiming hundreds of thousands of lives in mere months. Additionally, naval blockades imposed by the Allies exacerbated food and fuel shortages across Europe, contributing to widespread suffering among civilians and soldiers alike. These blockades not only hindered supplies, but also intensified the humanitarian crisis, leading to malnutrition and unrest. Amidst this turmoil, women stepped into the workforce in unprecedented numbers, taking on roles traditionally held by men who were away fighting. Their contributions were vital to sustaining economies and supporting war efforts, marking a significant shift in societal roles that would have lasting implications beyond the war. This period of industrialized warfare reshaped not only military strategies, but also the fabric of society itself. The trench warfare situation during World War I created dire conditions for French, British, and Belgian troops as they faced the relentless German forces. Soldiers lived in muddy, unsanitary trenches, enduring harsh weather, vermin, and the constant threat of enemy fire. The brutal reality of life in the trenches led to a stalemate, where neither side could gain a decisive advantage, significantly impacting military strategy and troop morale. This deadlock resulted in costly offensives, such as those at Verdun and the Somme, which yielded minimal territorial gains but devastating losses. The psychological toll on soldiers was immense, as hope for a swift resolution faded amidst the horrors of war. Neutral nations, such as the United States and Spain, played a crucial role in the conflict, providing supplies and resources while influencing diplomatic relations. Their involvement would eventually shift the balance of power as the entry of the U.S. in 1917 brought fresh troops and resources to the beleaguered Allies, altering the course of the war and highlighting the interconnectedness of global politics during this tumultuous period. The military actions on the Eastern and Italian fronts during World War I presented significant challenges that shaped the war's trajectory. The Russian army faced immense struggles, grappling with inadequate supplies, poor leadership, and logistical issues that severely hampered their effectiveness. The staggering losses suffered by Russian forces, particularly during battles like Tannenberg, not only weakened their military position, but also had a profound impact on the overall war effort, leading to disillusionment among troops and civilians alike. Meanwhile, Italian troops launched costly attacks against Austro-Hungarian defenses, particularly in the Isonzo River battles, which resulted in heavy casualties without substantial territorial gains. These relentless offensives drained resources and morale, complicating Italy's strategic objectives. Concurrently, the Central Powers made significant advances in the Balkans, effectively undermining Serbian resistance. The fall of Serbia in late 1915 allowed the Central Powers to secure vital supply routes and further consolidate their control in the region, altering the balance of power and complicating the Allies' efforts on multiple fronts. These dynamics underscored the complexity and brutality of the conflict, highlighting the interconnected nature of the war. Key battles and military strategies during World War I significantly shaped the conflict and its outcomes. The Battle of Verdun, fought in 1916, became emblematic of the war's brutality, with its staggering casualty rates exceeding 700,000 soldiers. This protracted battle symbolized French determination and the horrors of trench warfare, as both sides sought to wear each other down in a war of attrition. In Britain, the introduction of conscription in 1916 was a crucial response to the urgent need for military manpower, as volunteer numbers dwindled in the face of mounting losses. This policy allowed the British Army to expand rapidly, ensuring that they could sustain their efforts on the Western Front. Additionally, the war saw the introduction of new technologies such as tanks, which began to change the dynamics of warfare. First deployed at the Battle of the Somme, tanks offered a means to break through entrenched positions and provided a psychological advantage over the enemy. These innovations, alongside the strategic shifts in military tactics, underscored the evolving nature of warfare during this tumultuous period. The effects of World War I extended far beyond Europe, significantly impacting colonial territories across the globe. In Africa, British efforts focused on securing strategic locations, particularly Lake Tanganyika, which was vital for controlling supply routes and facilitating military operations against German colonial forces. The lake's importance lay in its potential to connect British territories and enhance their logistical capabilities in the region. Meanwhile, the Sykes-Picot Agreement, a secret arrangement between Britain and France, had profound implications for Middle Eastern politics. This agreement divided the Ottoman Empire's territories into spheres of influence, disregarding ethnic and cultural boundaries, which sowed the seeds for future conflicts in the region. Additionally, the Arab Revolt, led by Hussein bin Ali, aimed to liberate Arab lands from Ottoman rule, fueled by promises of independence from the Allies. This revolt not only showcased the desire for self-determination among Arab populations, but also complicated post-war politics, as the aspirations of Arab nationalists clashed with the realities imposed by colonial powers. The war's global ramifications highlighted the interconnectedness of colonial struggles and the shifting dynamics of power in the early 20th century. The Battle of the Somme, launched on July 1, 1916, was initially expected to be a decisive offensive that would break the stalemate on the Western Front. However, the tragic outcomes of the first day shattered these hopes, as British forces suffered nearly 60,000 casualties, making it one of the bloodiest days in military history. The staggering figures continued to rise throughout the battle, which lasted until November, ultimately resulting in over 1 million casualties combined for both sides. This immense loss underscored the brutal realities of trench warfare and the limitations of military strategy at the time. The battle's ongoing nature forced the Allies to reassess their tactics, leading to a shift towards more coordinated attacks and the integration of new technologies, such as tanks. The Somme also had a profound psychological impact on soldiers and civilians alike, highlighting the human cost of the war and shaping public perception. Ultimately, the Battle of the Somme became a symbol of the futility of war, influencing military strategies and national sentiments for years to come. The political landscape during World War I underwent significant shifts, marked by leadership changes that influenced the course of the conflict. The death of Austro-Hungarian Emperor Franz Joseph in 1916 led to the succession of his son, Karl, who faced immense challenges in uniting a diverse empire struggling under the pressures of war. Karl's attempts at peace negotiations reflected a desire to end the conflict, but his efforts were often undermined by military leaders and the ongoing stalemate. In Britain, leadership changes also played a crucial role. Prime Minister H.H. Asquith was replaced by David Lloyd George in 1916, whose more aggressive approach aimed to revitalize the war effort and improve coordination among the Allies. Lloyd George's leadership emphasized increased production and military strategy, which had significant implications for the British campaign. Meanwhile, U.S. President Woodrow Wilson's peace efforts, particularly his 14 points, sought to establish a framework for lasting peace. His vision for self-determination and international cooperation influenced post-war negotiations, although the complexities of the conflict often complicated the realization of these ideals. World War I reached a pivotal turning point, marked by significant battles and crucial political developments that would shape the course of history. This year witnessed the harrowing Battle of Passchendaele, where relentless rain turned the battlefield into a quagmire, leading to staggering casualties and a grim stalemate. Meanwhile, the Russian Revolution erupted, dramatically altering the Eastern Front and leading to the withdrawal of Russia from the war. These events not only shifted the dynamics of the conflict, but also introduced key figures such as General Ludendorff, who played a vital role in Germany's military strategies, and the emerging leaders of the Bolshevik movement, whose ideologies would resonate far beyond the war. Understanding the events of 1917 is crucial, as they set the stage for the eventual outcomes of the war and the geopolitical landscape of the 20th century. This video aims to engage you with the dramatic shifts in the war's landscape, illustrating how battles and political upheavals intertwined to influence the fate of nations. By delving into these significant events, we hope to provide a comprehensive overview that not only informs, but also captivates your interest in this tumultuous period. Join us as we explore the complexities and consequences of 1917, a year that forever altered the course of history. At the end of 1916, the world witnessed three of the largest battles in human history occurring simultaneously: the Battle of the Somme, the Battle of Verdun, and the Brusilov Offensive. These monumental clashes not only showcased the scale of human conflict, but also highlighted the devastating toll of trench warfare, with millions of soldiers engaged in brutal combat across multiple fronts. The significance of the Christmas truce during this period cannot be overstated. It served as a poignant reminder of humanity amidst the horrors of war, as soldiers from opposing sides laid down their arms to share moments of camaraderie and peace, if only for a brief time. This unexpected ceasefire illustrated the complex emotions experienced by those on the front lines and underscored the futility of the ongoing conflict. Key figures such as Indy Needell emerged during this tumultuous time, providing insightful commentary and analysis that helped shape public understanding of the war. Needell's efforts to document and share the realities of the battlefield had a profound impact, fostering a greater awareness of the war's complexities and the experiences of soldiers. As we delve into the simultaneous battles and military developments that characterize the end of 1916, we uncover the intricate web of strategies, human experiences, and the broader implications of these events on the trajectory of World War I. As 1916 drew to a close, the Eastern Front presented a complex geographical layout that spanned vast territories, including parts of modern-day Poland, Ukraine, and the Baltic states. This expanse was strategically significant, serving as a critical battleground where German and Russian forces clashed in a bid for dominance. The year saw intense movements of troops, with German forces under the command of leaders like Erich von Falkenhayn, pushing deeper into Russian territory. The entry of Romania into the war on the side of the Allies added another layer of complexity, as Romanian forces attempted to secure their borders, but ultimately faced swift German advances that threatened their sovereignty. The challenges faced by commanders like Falkenhayn were immense. Maintaining supply lines became increasingly difficult as the front lines shifted and stretched over vast distances. The harsh winter conditions further exacerbated these logistical issues, complicating the transportation of troops and essential supplies. As the year ended, the Eastern Front was marked by a precarious balance of power, with both sides grappling with the realities of attrition warfare. The situation underscored the importance of strategic planning and resource management in a theater where geography played a crucial role in determining the outcome of military engagements. Understanding these dynamics is essential to grasping the broader implications of the Eastern Front in the context of World War I. At the end of 1916, the political landscape was fraught with tension as the war continued to ravage Europe. The German peace note sent to the Allies prompted a significant response, as the Allies firmly rejected any notion of a negotiated peace that did not include the restoration of Belgium's sovereignty. This rejection underscored their commitment to fighting until a decisive victory was achieved, emphasizing the importance of Belgium as a symbol of national integrity and justice in the face of aggression. Meanwhile, across the Atlantic, President Woodrow Wilson maintained a cautious stance regarding American involvement in the conflict. He advocated for neutrality, believing that the United States should act as a mediator rather than a participant in the war. However, the growing toll of the conflict and increasing pressure from various factions within the U.S. hinted at a potential shift in this position. Additionally, the Allies made specific demands concerning Greece, insisting on its alignment with the Allied cause and the necessity of securing its strategic position in the Balkans. The blockade situation also loomed large, as the Allies sought to tighten their grip on Central Powers' supply lines, further straining the resources available to Germany and its allies. These developments at the end of 1916 set the stage for the evolving dynamics of the war and the eventual push towards peace negotiations in the years to come. By the end of 1916, the military strength on the Western Front was staggering, with the Allies fielding approximately 150 divisions, comprising around 3 million troops, while the Central Powers had about 100 divisions, totaling around 2 million soldiers. This significant disparity in troop numbers had profound implications for the ongoing conflict, as the sheer volume of personnel allowed the Allies to sustain prolonged offensives despite heavy casualties. The scale of mobilization among the major powers was unprecedented. Countries like Germany, France, and Britain had committed vast resources to the war effort, with millions of men conscripted into service. For instance, Germany had mobilized over 13 million soldiers since the war began, while France and Britain followed closely behind, each contributing millions to their respective armies. These numbers not only reflected the total war mentality, but also influenced military strategies on both sides. The Allies, bolstered by their numerical superiority, sought to wear down the Central Powers through attrition, while the Central Powers aimed to exploit their tactical advantages and execute decisive strikes. However, the staggering casualty figures, with millions dead or wounded, highlighted the brutal reality of trench warfare and the challenges of sustaining such large forces. As military leaders grappled with these statistics, they were forced to adapt their strategies, leading to a relentless cycle of offensives and counteroffensives that characterized the latter stages of the war. The Battle of Verdun stands as a defining moment of 1916, encapsulating the brutal realities of World War I. Historian Alistair Horn famously described the battle's indecisiveness, noting that it became a symbol of the war's attritional nature, where neither side could claim a clear victory despite the staggering costs involved. The battle, which lasted from February to December, resulted in approximately 700,000 casualties, with both French and German forces suffering immense losses. This human cost highlighted the grim reality of trench warfare, where soldiers faced relentless artillery barrages and the horrors of close-quarters combat. Strategically, Verdun was significant for its psychological impact. It became a rallying point for French national pride, as the defense of the fortress symbolized resilience against German aggression. The French forces, under the leadership of General Philippe Pétain, famously declared, "They shall not pass," reinforcing the determination to hold the line at all costs. However, the battle's outcome was ultimately inconclusive, with neither side achieving a decisive breakthrough, reflecting the broader stalemate that characterized the Western Front. Verdun encapsulated the horrors of World War I, serving as a stark reminder of the futility and devastation of modern warfare. The battle's legacy continues to resonate, symbolizing the sacrifices made and the enduring impact of a conflict that reshaped nations and altered the course of history. The significance of the Battle of Verdun was underscored, as it not only exemplified the horrors of trench warfare, but also became a symbol of French resilience and national pride amidst staggering casualties. As we reflect on these key points, it's essential to recognize that the war was far from over. The ongoing conflict would continue to evolve, with far-reaching implications for the future of Europe and the world. The lessons learned from this tumultuous period remain relevant today, reminding us of the complexities of warfare and the human cost involved. We encourage you to engage with our content by subscribing to the channel, liking this video, and sharing it with others who may be interested in history. Your support helps us continue to create informative and engaging content. Additionally, be sure to explore our related videos for a deeper understanding of World War I and its lasting impact. Join us as we delve further into this critical chapter of history and uncover the stories that shaped our world.